So I'm so grateful that we made Hope Dance Project Uganda exist in our community, and the children are enjoying. You can watch him, you can watch others. Yeah, so we train every single day from 5 p.m. up to 7:30. Yeah, but we're so grateful that we're always here together with the children, with other adults, and we always love to share. As our slogan goes, you learn, create, and share.
Good morning. How is everyone doing? I've got my cup of tea with me, sponsored by Lord of the Rings again this morning. I hope everyone is doing very, very well and has busy days planned. A bit like last week, these sessions are now going about half an hour because there's too much stress on my brain to go for a whole hour. And we can also condense it and fit some more cool stuff into just 30 minutes. So as always, pop any questions in the comments. And as the title suggests, today we're talking about the new Hope Dance Project Uganda. Some of the boys that are on that team will be in the comments, so look out for them. They will probably comment on your post before you see them. But we are talking about their little initiative, their little organisation, their group this morning, and how I met them really. So without further ado, if everyone's got their cup of tea, we will jump across to the presentation. And look at that magician. So here we are in 2019, heading towards Acholi quarters in Kampala. Now, this is the first time that I have visited a group of people in Kampala, so a new initiative that I'd never been to before. Most of my time I arrive into Kampala, and within a few days I've driven straight out to the village, and that's where I spend most of my trip. You may remember when we talked about the Sleepwell project and how that I first met a guy called George and connected to the New Hope Dance Project. So this is that first trip. So in that video we skipped right over to the Sleepwell project, but this is the first time George was taking me to meet the team at New Hope Dance Project in Kampala, in the Acholi quarters in Kampala, where we eventually did the Sleepwell project. So this is where those relationships began, and I just wanted to show you through some pictures and some stories of how it kicked off. But as you might have seen from that first video that came up, that was the New Hope Dance Project at their finest. Every day or every other day, I'm not sure what they do now, but around 6 o'clock in the evening, they set up a huge mat on the concrete playing field, and they invite everyone, not just children, but whoever wants to join in and learn to dance, break dance, street dance, hip hop. They run a long extension lead from one of the houses. They plug in a huge speaker, attach a memory stick full of music, turn it up loud, and they run sessions with the children of the community. And the main reason to do that is the health and well-being benefits. It keeps the kids moving, it keeps them socializing, it keeps them healthy, but also it keeps them off the streets and out of causing trouble. There's a huge how can I say it? It's not necessarily a problem, but it is a problem where children with nothing to do will find something to do, or people will find them something to do, which will benefit those people. So kids can get taken, they can get stolen, they can go missing, they can be paid small amounts of money to steal things, and this is really a big part of why New Hope Dance Project pull these kids into dancing. It gives them a focus, it gives them an energy, it gives them a drive. So that's what they do each evening. It stops a lot of these kids getting into trouble, and alongside that, it keeps them healthy, teaches them to dance, and they have a great time and they socialise and meet friends, because perhaps some of them don't go to school, or many of them won't go to school. So this is one of the this wall is no longer here. It's been knocked down by a truck. But this is where I first saw New Hope Dance Project, and their connection with hip hop and the connection with dance has got a huge connection with graffiti. So they love to paint walls. But here we are on the very first evening I arrived. I literally just met the guys for 10 minutes and they were already into starting their session. So all the kids arrive, they bring them all in, and this is Ambrose. I guess he's doing some warm-ups here, but they get all the kids lined up, music's going, and yeah, he starts training the dance moves. So again, at the beginning of this video, or beginning of this session, I played the video that I created at the same time as we were doing the photography for this part of the project. So at this point for me, I was just documenting what was going on. We were, we'd literally just met. I said, yeah, we'll take some pictures. Let's go. So David's taking pictures. I'm taking pictures. They've got cameras. They've got phones, and it's a great time as the sun's setting in Kampala. It's nice and warm. Kids are having fun, and they're learning to dance, and they're expending a lot of that energy that could be put into something that's not quite productive, shall we say. So I was looking for all sorts of angles. I was lying on the floor, framing through people's legs. The kids are all very small, so it's good to get down on their level, or if you can, shoot slightly up towards them. When you shoot down on top of people, it takes the power away from them. It can make them look a lot cuter, but we want to empower people. So shooting from a lower angle and up towards these kids makes them little superheroes. So yeah, lots of stretching. I didn't fancy taking part in any of that. But what have we got here? And there's George. So George is always the guy wearing the funky shirts. So George will be wearing a funky shirt, and he is all about yoga. So this is a small yoga session with the kids in between them doing some dancing. And there's yours truly. So this is one of the kids in the middle of what they call a cipher. And a cipher is generally when all of the dancers or supporters that are at a music event all gather in a circle, and they basically pop people into the middle to do 20-30 seconds of dancing, do their set, and then they jump back out. So this is what was happening. I became part of the cipher, and I was just filming from a low angle, and these pictures are obviously taken by David or one of the other guys. But it was incredible to see the confidence that these kids gain from dancing. They get to showcase what they know, whether they're good or great or not so good. It doesn't matter. Everyone's clapping, everyone's cheering. And although I'm not putting the video up, but I did jump in the middle of this and do some dancing and showed them some English moves, which I think they'll probably work with in the future, I reckon. This is one of the little lads. So I just took a burst mode of all of his pictures, and on the left there you've got David doing his thing with the camera. And so after the kids have kind of got they get a bit bored, they get distracted, and off they go after about an hour. And then the boys stay for another half an hour, however long they want. Music's cranked up, and they go and just freestyle themselves. So they're constantly learning and evolving their own dancing. And before they even created New Hope Dance Project, they were dancing. And then they suddenly got to a point where we thought, there's so much benefit to the community, we want to expand this. And they created it into an open project. So it involves the community. These guys connect with outside organizations. So people like me will come along who are interested in what they're doing. And, sometimes they just come along for a day and nothing else happens beyond that. But sometimes, you connect and it keeps building. Like like the relationship I've got with them, it just keeps on building, and we do bigger things together. They work with local foundations within Kampala. So each morning they make porridge for the children and hand it out so the kids know to come along and get porridge, so they get their first meal of the day. And sometimes that might be their only meal of the day. But it all come from these guys, their passion for dancing, for hip hop, for music, for graffiti, for creativity. And so that's where, they start spinning around on the heads on concrete. Basically that mat is just to, I don't even know what it protects them from. It just helps them spin quicker, I think. But you can see the passion in Moritz, who's up on the top left, and then Ambrose is throwing down some moves. And then whilst we were there that evening, I took a picture of this wall, and it's quite a wide wall, so I took it in sections to join it together later as a panorama. But the reason I took that picture was because I had a vision in mind for later in the trip. So this was day 1 or 2 of my 2019 trip to Uganda. So that was the last picture I took that evening with the guys. We'd just spent one evening with them. We talked a lot, and I said, wouldn't it be brilliant to come back towards the end of my trip and we can photograph you guys dancing? And I had the ideas of walking around the community and using the locations that they had to create some really interesting images of the boys dancing and pulling moves within their community, just trying to connect what they do and the community. So I went away for 3, maybe 4 weeks to the village doing other projects, but we kept in touch through WhatsApp, and then made the return. So I'd had the whole of the 2019 trip. I had maybe 2 or 3 days left in Kampala, and I came back and joined the rest of the team. So this is Ola Ambrose, and he's B-Boy Soul. And so B-Boy is the name, B-Boy or B-Girl is the name of a breakdancer. It's the name of somebody that loves to dance, and when the break beat comes on, they just get down and they throw moves around. So each of them have their own B-Boy name, but this guy is Ambrose, and he is known as B-Boy Soul. And this is his portrait at Sun City. And the reason we got this portrait is because he was too tired to do handstands. So we were moving around in the community, moving around through all these really tight corridors, and I just saw Sun City up on the wall, and just thought, wouldn't that make a great picture? Ambrose obviously brings the moves, and just in behind that wall on the left, behind that fence on the left, is David with the flash. So that's where the door was. So you crawl through, and as we're moving around, we're being followed by all the kids. So there's quite a collection of people coming with us. This is Yaya. He's known as B-Boy Truth. So this is one of my favourite pictures because it's so colourful. You've got David there with the light, and you've got Yaya pulling a freeze, or I don't know quite what it's called. You boys in the comments can let us know that one. But I just loved it, the fact that he was very central, and the community were either side. And I was zooming in and just taking the shots of him, but when I pulled back, I preferred that view. This is Yaya again. This time he's hanging upside down on some steps. A little bit of camera wizardry. I felt like the picture looked better upside down, but it just shows how dynamic these moves can be. Yaya again. I'm not sure this kid he's either not quite content with carrying that rice around on his head, or he's not sure about the move Yaya is pulling. But I think he's quite used to carrying that stuff on his head, so I reckon Yaya's move is probably putting him off doing some dancing. And he's a bit like, not sure about that. And so as we're moving around, the boys had this location, we'd carried the speaker to it, and we set up our own cypher, basically in the middle of the street. And David was there with the light. I have the trigger on the light so I can move around wherever. I just need to communicate with David where to stand to get the to get the shots. And slowly, the camera flash is going off, there's loud music, there's dancing, and the community gathers. And it was amazing experience, and I really had to sort of settle myself and just take a moment to think how lucky I was to be in that position and be supported by this team at New Hope Dance Project, to be invited into their world, really. This is B-Boy 95, this is Moritz, and he not only can balance on one hand whilst his feet are above his head, he can balance on his head while his feet are above his head. So he's an incredible talent, creative, great artist. He does a lot of photography for the projects that we work on now, but he can also balance on his head. As I said before, this was a road, so every so often bikes came through, people came wandering through, and we just let it happen. It's people move out of the way, and we just carry on. But this is a guy carrying charcoal. This is Ambrose number 2, a separate Ambrose. And actually my favourite thing beyond the smiling kids at the front about this picture is the kid in the red at the back that is wearing a Santa Claus t-shirt. And I saw him again this year and he was still wearing the same t-shirt. So he obviously loves it. And it was, just brilliant things that you see in pictures after you take them. But this is us in the cipher. Team picture. And then we moved to another location, which is a quarry right in the middle of the slum where people crush stones. And all of the boys used to work in that quarry crushing stones before they came together and created their small dance group and then evolved it into New Hope Dance Project. So the project has enabled them to get away from working crushing rocks. But people still work there, they still crush rocks. And unfortunately, it's not brilliant at all. It's not safe, and plenty of people actually die because rocks fall off the quarry or they injure themselves. So it's not brilliant, but talking to the boys, I wanted to make a portrait of the team there. And so it's very similar to the borehole, where I take the shots individually. I light everyone individually. And so on the left, you've got Nicholas, you've got Ambrose, you've got Little Promise, you've got Yaya, Moritz, Ibrahim, and you've got the second Ambrose on the right-hand side. So really sweet team picture, and there's a lot of meaning to those guys, to how far they've come away from the jobs that they used to do. Moving along into the evening, took this, again, another similar portrait. Because it was quite dark, this shot was just taken with one flash, but that's the team again. And making these pictures, I just love the contrast and the colours of the t-shirts against the black wall. But moving forward to the Sleepwell project, none of that was in mind when I made these pictures. So to make those pictures and then utilise them for the Sleepwell project, having quite a night-timey look, was luck of the draw. But if you create it, it gives you massive options. And then finally, this picture of the community. So it's quite a huge picture, but it was taken in exactly the same way. We lit everyone all the way along. It's very small to see here, but I will post it up onto either Facebook or a link to my website where you can see the picture properly. But the idea was to get as many of the community in with the dancers as possible. It was the very last picture of one of the very last shoots of the trip. Logistical nightmare, but we got it done. And so when I saw that wall right at the beginning of my trip, this was the vision, or pretty close to the vision I had in mind to create. So without hanging about just here, we're going to skip on to the behind the scenes film. So whilst we're watching the initial bit of this, all of the I've left this as the audio was. Some of it's sped up, so you'll hear it going. But
I'm on TV.
Yeah, I'm still on TV. But I'll leave that playing for a second, just while I look at some of the comments and see if anyone's got any questions. But this is how it all went down from the behind the scenes view.
Ambrose, come on in.
So I'll come back into here, and this is the team picture part of the shoot. And as you can probably have seen, that I've been just darting around and taking pictures from all different angles. So that was the main cipher in the middle of the street, and then we went off to find all these crazy locations. So this is where Yaya was hanging around on the steps, and you know, I just show you one photograph, but we took hundreds of pictures through this whole day. The team were carrying the kit, so I completely trusted them, and so I didn't have to carry any of my hard kit. Zambro's trying to do his handstand. Then he just went on and did the Sun City shoot. So that shows you where David was standing, and I just basically got the light to rebound off that wall. And yeah, we just had a great time. We just wandered around and made pictures, and it was, the dance moves were on the fly, the photography was on the fly, and it was just really getting to know each other and move together, which really helped in that year in between then and the Sleepwell project, to know that when I was writing to them, I knew where they lived, what we were all about, how it was going to work. They knew how I worked, I trusted them, and we built the project successfully together over like 9 months without even seeing each other. And this is us just walking out of the slum. And I don't like calling it a slum because it's home to a lot of people, but it is a very poor community in Kampala. But groups like New Hope Dance Project are doing so much good work. They don't just work with the children doing dancing, they work with the women, the elderly women. They do yoga, they do acro yoga, which is basically they balance people like 3 people high, building pyramids out of humans, and it's unbelievable. And I tried it, and I think I'm still injured. I tried it on my last day on this trip, and I think my bones are still broken. So Chris Powell's sent in a quick message. Do I feel safe there? Yes, I feel safe there when I'm with the boys. I would get completely lost walking around there on my own. And certainly after dark, I wouldn't walk around there on my own. And that's because the boys have told me not to. So we walk around together. I'm always with the group or 1 or 2 of the guys, because it's so huge. There's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think there's about 50,000 in the whole community. It's huge. It spreads out a long way. They all live very tightly knit, but but I walk in there absolutely fine. Meet up with the boys near their home, and then we move together. That's the whole point in the teamwork. You know, I would wander off to the shop to get some food and stuff during the day, some drinks, but I wouldn't wander off to somewhere that I didn't know on my own. But that's just a natural thing. So Gemma's written, how did you guys meet initially? I'm guessing that's a question to Ambrose. So check into the comments, Ambrose, and answer that one. But how did I meet New Hope? It was through George. So the same way I explained it in the Sleepwell Project Live. I met George at a river festival. George told me about this group in Kampala, and George introduced me. So at the start of this live, you'll see the first video and the first set of pictures that we did when we met. So this whole trip, we spent one evening at the very start, and we spent one evening at the end. So less than probably 8 hours together to create what you've seen so far. And those 8 hours formed the trust and the base of creating the Sleepwell Project. So you can do amazing things when you connect with people and you work with people rather than, against people when there's no trust. So we trusted each other very quickly. They were walking off with cameras, kit, and I completely trusted them. And we, when you've got that, you can create amazing things. But that was the behind the scenes film that you just saw then. And so for the last couple of minutes, and then I'll come back on at the end, I won't talk through this next video. You can turn the music down if it's not your thing. But whilst we were doing the photo shoots, I was also switching between photo and video, as well as one of the boys having the other camera to film video. And we wanted to create more of a film. So rather than the behind the scenes, this is the actual film that we created that trip. So enjoy.
DJ at the mixer.
There we go. So that's the film that we made of the New Hope Dance Project. during the 2019 trip. And I think you agree they're incredibly talented, stretchy and strong. But, you know, incredible guys, really humble, honest guys. And that's why I love to work with them. They're incredibly creative. And to have done that project across just literally 2 days of my trip there, and to lead on to then the next thing we did together was the Sleep Well project, which was a huge success, and we'll carry on when the world restarts properly. We'll carry on with round 2 of the Sleep Well project. But I just wanted to sort of run you through how we met and a bit about what they do. I'm sure there is so much that I have left out. But I did see that Chris Harvey loves motorbikes, and he saw the motorbike coming through. But that's exactly what it is, and that's Africa. Whatever you set up to try and do, a motorbike will always ride through the middle of it, and you just have to negotiate that motorbike and jump out the way, and then get back onto your program again. So it was a fantastic experience. I saw how the community came together, not only to watch the dance, but I think you'll see little promise within that video, and the confidence that he had after he did the flip and then strode off it. You know, that just showed me that what the guys are doing is working at a very young age, and it's also working for the ladies at the top end of their life. So they're enjoying it, the kids are enjoying it, and that can only bring confidence into the community, and it can only bring confidence in the individuals' lives. So what we do with the Sleep Well project, what I do with being able to put these videos together with the guys, and you know, they teach me every day, I teach them every day, and together we're creating Think People, Think Story, and that's going to be how we deliver all of our projects in the future. So pretty much that's it. My cup of tea is going cold. If anyone's got any more questions, then I'll hang around for another 15-20 seconds, because that's how far we are behind on these videos. But there is one more clip. It's about a minute long, and it's just the behind the scenes video of just before we took the large community picture on that first trip. But thank you so much for checking in with Couple with Tea. This is episode 11. I'm not sure how many episodes will go, probably until I run out of content or stories and need to go back again to make some more. But you guys have an incredible day, and look after yourselves. And the boys are in the comments. Write anything down in there, and they will see it and they will respond. But for now, see you later.
Yeah, good.
Awesome. So here we are at the New Hope Dance Project in a trolley quarters in Kampala. And when we came here at the very first day of our trip, I had this vision in my mind of a picture that I wanted to create. And it's going to be hopefully of as many dancers as we can get, but it's going to be another long picture against that black wall. So we've reached the point where the lights go in. It's 7 o'clock on the 5th of February. We're just setting up, and it's going to be the last shoot of the day and possibly the last proper shoot of the trip. So it's going to take a bit of logistics, keeping everyone off the car park. But we're going to set up the light with the softbox. We've got the 7200. We've got George doing some behind the scenes, and David's going to be holding the light. Yeah. So let's get cracking and see how we get on.